and welcome to our live question and answer session on apprenticeships for Apprenticeship Week. Croeso, welcome, and tonight we'll be telling you all about apprenticeships and answering any questions you might want to send in to us. So along with my colleagues in the room who we'll introduce in a second, we'll do our best to answer any questions that you may have. So I'm Vicky Barwis, East Bennyth, Vice Principal, and I will just introduce my colleagues before we get on with the real business of the day of answering your questions. So I will start with my colleague Katie.
Hi, I'm Katie Griffiths. I'm Work-Based Learning Manager here at College Cambria, and I look after health and social care, childcare, play work and supporting teaching and learning.
Thank you very much, Katie. Kate?
Hi, I'm Kate Muddyman. I look after all of the land-based qualifications, all the food industry and customer service and advice and guidance.
Thank you very much, Pete.
Good evening, I'm Pete Jones. I'm the Work-Based Learning Manager for Engineering. I cover manufacturing, engineering, business improvement techniques, warehousing and storage, and the college also covers aeronautical engineering too.
Thank you. Carl?
Evening everyone, sorry. My name's Carl Black. I'm the Work-Based Learning Manager for Motor Vehicle and Fabrication and Welding.
And Amanda?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Amanda Holmes, and I manage the employer engagement team, the work experience teams, and the job shop team here at Cambria. But I'm also here to tell you about a work-based learning area that we also deliver apprenticeships in business administration, accountancy, HR, management, TAQA, hair and beauty and barbering.
Thank you very much. And we also do offer a full range of construction apprenticeships as well. So we do already have some questions, so we will get on with answering them in the best way that we can. And our first one that's come in this evening is quite a good one to start with, I think. It's who can do an apprenticeship? So really anyone can do an apprenticeship as long as they are employed. Now, as we are College Cambria based in North East Wales, you do need to be employed in Wales to access one with us. But other than that, you just need to be employed for 16 hours a week or more. And you just need to contact us for us to help you develop that apprenticeship. I don't know if any of my colleagues want to add anything to who can do an apprenticeship. No, everyone thinks that's fully answered. So let's see what other questions we've got coming in. Here's one. Am I too old to do an apprenticeship at 30 years old? So I'll hand that one over to Katie, because I know a lot of your learners vary in age.
Absolutely. I think, absolutely not. I don't think you'd say you were too old to do an apprenticeship. Anything from school leaver to retirement age is funded through Welsh Government with apprenticeships. And as an example, 68% of learners in my area in particular are aged over 25. So there's a broad spectrum of ages who undertake apprenticeships within my area.
That's really interesting to know. So anyone can use it for retraining or upskilling to help their career prospects if they're employed in Wales. So it's a really good one. We've had another one through here that says, do I need to pay for an apprenticeship? Amanda, as you link with all our employers, I'll bring you in for that one.
Okay, for employed individuals based in Wales, the apprenticeship training is funded by the Welsh Government. We access it on an employer's behalf. There is currently also an incentive scheme in place through Welsh Government. So this is for anybody with a neurodiversity, disability, impairment, and that's running until the 31st of March. So basically, if an employer does employ somebody with one of those conditions, they can speak to the employer engagement team and we can guide you how to access that incentive scheme. But absolutely, yes, the apprenticeship is funded as long as you're based in Wales over 51% of your time.
Okay, Thank you for that. And just to remind anybody watching, if you look at the strapline, you can send us your questions live. I say we'll stay here and we will answer them. We're here for a while, so please do send your questions in. We will also put some strap lines across the bottom if we reference anywhere on our website that we think you might find it useful to get some extra information. So just looking at what questions we've got now. Will I be paid as an apprentice? Kate, will they be paid?
They will indeed. Yeah, absolutely. There are a few minimum wage guidelines which I can go through. So if you're 16 to 18, the minimum that the employer can pay you is £5.28 an hour. However, a lot of employers do pay over the minimum hourly wage. If you're 19 plus and in your first year of your apprenticeship, then they must pay you a minimum of £5.28. But if you're then 19 to 20 or in year 2 of your apprenticeship, it's £7.49. And if you're 21 or 22 and in your second year, it's £10.18. And over 23 and in your second year, it's £10.42. As I say, they're the minimum hourly wages, but you do find that most employers do tend to pay the minimum wage. So it's worth asking that question when you're going for an apprenticeship role to find out what the hourly wage would be. But yeah, you absolutely do get paid.
Oh, thanks, Kate. So that's the minimum you can get paid. And as Kate said, a lot of our employers will offer more than apprentice minimum wage, at the very least age-related minimum wage, and obviously they change annually. So if you do want to check up on those, if you go on the gov.uk website and just type in minimum wage, and they will all pop up for you to check if they're still correct when you do want to have a look. So just looking at some more questions that we've had in. Amanda, this is definitely one for you. Where can I find an apprenticeship?
Well, there's multiple platforms for finding an apprenticeship. The first platform that I'll signpost you to is actually the College Cambria Job Shop. We'll be able to put the strapline in the bottom here to a number of links for the job shop. But what we've got on our job shop portal is a live portal of vacancies that are sent into the employee engagement team. And that's daily. So it's updated with full-time opportunities, part-time apprenticeships, and voluntary work as well. Because again, it's all beneficial for you to sort of seek those opportunities, help you in your career. So as well as the Cambria Job Shop, you've also got the Careers Wales portal, which is a government national portal. So employers do add vacancies there. We support them to do that because we have to get them translated into Welsh, as it's a Welsh government funded platform. Indeed, any of the if you Google find an apprenticeship near me with a given topic, they will be, you can find them in multiple places. But research as well. We tell all our students, research, look at the employers in the area. We're very close to the biggest industrial estates in Europe. So, for Wrexham and D-side areas especially, the industry is so plentiful. There's lots of opportunities, but you've got to be proactive because they are very competitive. If you want to find the options, just use as many of the resources as possible, but definitely start at the Cambria Job Shop, because even if you're not a student, you and your parents can search on our job shop, no problem at all.
Thank you very much. And we've just had a question through Facebook about when do I have to decide by to get an apprenticeship? Well, really, the sooner the better. So I will go around the room and ask people about their particular ones, because in some cases you can do it any time of the year, and in other cases they will be determined by the start time of those apprentices. So I will start with Katie for your area around care and childcare.
Okay, so for my area that I cover, we have what's called a roll-on, roll-off programme. So you can start any time of the year. So should you secure a vacancy, you can actually start once you've started in employment on your apprenticeship. So there is actually no official start date like in further education. So it wouldn't be a September start date like you would be used to if you were coming to college. So it is literally you can start whenever you wish.
That's very flexible, and that would be for health and social care, childcare, play work.
And supporting teaching and learning.
Fantastic. Kate, what about your area? When do they have to decide by?
Yeah, so for my area, which is land-based food industry, customer service, advice and guidance, very similar to Katie in that there are roll-on, roll-off. Employers are advertising all the time. And if you're specifically asking because you're still in school and you're wondering if you need to decide what to do next, you don't need to decide before you leave, as it were, because it's applying for the roles that start. So you couldn't start an apprenticeship if you're doing your exams this year until the end of July, till after your last date for your school year, which would be the 31st of July. So although you could apply for any adverts before then, you can't start your apprenticeship until after that, even if you finish your exams in June. So just if that applies to you. So yeah, it really depends when the adverts are out there. So if you've got an advert that you've seen, it's worth applying, but just letting them know when you're available and be honest and frank and transparent at the interview stage that you wouldn't be able to start until August if that's your scenario.
That's great. I'm sure everyone wouldn't mind a few weeks off after they're working hard for their exams as well. Pete, what about your area?
Okay, so specifically for engineering, our programs start in September. With regards to we have amount of academic qualifications that learners have to obviously go through, so we have to set that to a term time schedule, and we also do practical skills training within that as well. So the majority of engineering apprenticeships start in September. However, business improvement techniques, which is lean manufacturing or lean processes, warehousing and storage, and manufacturing apprenticeships can start anytime, very similar to what Kate has just explained with regards to starting, with regards to any school leavers, etc. Obviously, the main thing is that you secure an opportunity with an employer.
Fantastic. Carl, what about your area?
Yeah, well, within my area for motor vehicle and fabrication and welding, it's very similar to Pete's. We work to the academic year because we're delivering the theory that backs up all the competence side of the qualifications. However, with that, if you do gain employment, you can start building competence side of the qualification up earlier as well.
Okay, and Amanda, you're picking up for some of the other areas?
Okay, I might need a bit of help with hair and beauty, but for business administration, again, that's very, very similar to Kate and Katie's area because it's all work-based assessed. That can start at any point during the academic year. So what we're seeing is actually a number of like A-level students and other students applying for apprenticeships that are on our job shop portal. But ultimately, you probably want to wait until you finish your qualification before you start. So yeah, business admin, any point, accountancy, because that is obviously, well, not obviously, because that is a taught course. It does rely on a heavy technical element, so you would start that. There's two start points for AAT level 2, which is sort of September and January. I think we've introduced a level 2 then, but for level 3 and 4 you're probably looking at a September start again around the academic year because of when exams take place. Similar to CIPD, which is HR, the level 3 apprenticeship, that would start in September, and then this year we've actually got a level 3 cohort which is just about starting now as well. Management, similarly to Kate and Katie's areas, can start at any point throughout the academic year because we have certain qualifications that have starting points for technical taught courses, but they're all work-based assessed. So again, it depends on the level. TAQA, now again, Vicky, you might need a bit of help with TAQA.
So I will pick up those ones. So TAQA is learning and development. And that again can start at any point. That's a roll-on, roll-off framework. And with hair and beauty, we generally start in September and January. We would normally have 2 intakes in a year if we've got sufficient people that want to do it. But September would be our main intake there. And then with construction, our construction courses all start in September. So you would be required to, again, be applying now for any jobs that would start then. That's not unless you transfer off a full-time course, that is something where after the first few weeks of the course, you wouldn't be able to join them. So Lots of information there, which you can find more of that on our website. If you go to cambria.ac.uk, we do have an apprenticeships page that you can read more info and some of the course profiles in a bit more detail. So we've got another Facebook question there about what qualifications do you need to start an apprenticeship? Well, that can vary from course to course. From some, you will need some prior learning. Generally, these will be around your maths and English. So for some of the ones that we've spoken about today, for example, accountancy, you would need to already have your grades A to C in maths and English. I will go around the room again, just so that everyone can just fill in any changes in their area where it isn't about having GCSEs in advance. So I'll start with you, Katie.
Okay, so unlike some of the other programs that we offer, my area doesn't require any entry qualifications. However, what we do at the beginning, during the initial discussion with yourselves, we would do an initial assessment. So we would look at the level of where you were at with maths and English. And what we would do is if you needed to upskill, we would offer that support to enable you to do that, because part of the apprenticeship framework is that you complete essential skills qualifications if you don't already have GCSE grades A to G. So depending on the framework itself, so the actual learning and level that you're doing would depend what grade you need. So for example, for a health and social care level 2 qualification, you would need GCSE grades up to G for the level 1 qualifications. And I know as we go around the room now, different sectors and different areas all require different levels. Again, the same for childcare and play work and supporting teaching and learning. But the college is very supportive. We can upskill you if you feel that you didn't necessarily achieve the grades that you wanted to in school either. So there's a very much a supportive nature here, and we will support you to gain those qualifications.
Brilliant, thank you. Kate, any changes in your area about what qualifications you need to get in?
Very similar to Katie for all the land-based animal care qualifications and all the food industry and customer service. So need to quite often get the level 2 apprenticeship before you can move on to the level 3. So that is something to be aware of if you're applying for roles. If it's a level 3 apprenticeship, you might need to already have achieved the level 2. But other than that, it's the same as Katie with the GCSEs. You don't have to have them, but we'll just do that pre-assessment beforehand.
Pete, how about engineering?
So for engineers, there's a mixed bag, let's say. So if you're looking at the typical engineering level 3, so a normal technician, engineering maintenance fitter or the like, you would probably be required by your company to have A's to C's in maths and English as an entry requirement. However, we do offer a foundation apprenticeship, which some companies do employ people on, that accept learners with a lower level, and then we upskill as per what the guys have just explained. So you'd attend college on day release on the practical or the knowledge side of things, but you'd also do an essential skills session in those day release days. With regards to a higher apprenticeship, you would be looking at probably 2 A levels in relevant disciplines to get onto a higher apprenticeship program. And I'll just point out at this point that we do take apprenticeships from foundation, apprenticeship, higher apprenticeship, and degree level apprenticeships at College Cambria.
Thanks, Pete. Carl, any entry requirements for your area?
So we don't actually have entry requirements. However, the frameworks do state at the end of a level 2 that we would need an A to G GCSE in maths and English, or also a level 1 essential skill in comms. So we can work towards them during the apprenticeship. However, we do always say the higher the grade that you come in with, the easier the actual framework completion will be for you to complete, and we can support you through the essential skills at the College Cambria as well.
And in the construction trades, there are entry requirements for having 5 GCSEs A to C along with your maths and English. But again, what we would say is if you don't get them, then we can talk you through what happens next and support you. And the entry requirements we've been talking about here are the entry requirements for the learning programme. So there may be things that the employer is looking for, so you do need to look out for that on the job advert. They may be asking for more than what we actually need for the framework. So just make sure that you read everything carefully when you're applying for the role to make sure that your predicted grades beat with the expectations of the employer as well. Okay, so if we move on to now, can I do an apprenticeship at the same time as my job? Well, I can probably answer that for you. That's yes, because you have to be employed to do an apprenticeship. So if you don't have a job, then it's the alternative to that question is no, you cannot do an apprenticeship. So whilst we know that it is hard to study and work at the same time, employers recognise that when they take on an apprentice, that they do need to allocate them some time and to mentor them and to support them to develop those skills. So let's have a look at what questions we've got coming in now. This is definitely one for you, this one, Amanda. I have a business. How do I find an apprentice?
Okay, well, I've already referenced the job shop portal. So what I'd suggest any employer is if they're looking to seek to recruit an apprentice is to speak with the employer engagement team. I can see here, or I think we'd be able to put the details of the employer engagement team at the bottom here with our telephone number. But is to contact the employer engagement team. We would then take a job description from you, and we can post it onto the job shop portal, but also the Careers Wales portal, which will support you with. But another thing, the college here, we've got over 6,000 full-time students, and really the college for me should be looked at, and for all of us should be looked at as a natural recruitment resource. So all the areas that my colleagues are representing here today, we do have learners studying these areas. So it's really wise that, these people have already chosen or got a feeling they want to go in a certain direction for their careers. But, speak to us. We have events literally this week. Well, this last week we'll have had 4 events. So we've got the Meet the Engineering Employer events, Meet the Construction Employer events. We've got Uniform Public Services events coming up, childcare in June. But also we have a multi-sector careers event as well. So those dates, if there are any employers listening, we've got one in Deeside on the 16th of April and one at our Yale campus in Wrexham on the 18th of April. And that's for any of the sectors that I haven't mentioned who we've had events for during our National Apprenticeship celebration. So there are multiple ways you can come in and have spotlight sessions through our job shop to meet our students. So I think it is literally for any employer, reach out to the employer engagement team. And then because we all work collaboratively together, I can't say the word, sorry, it's been a long day, with our job shop and work experience teams, we can make sure we can get you in front of the right students.
That's brilliant, thank you. Now we've had a question in about how long does the apprenticeship take? Well, that's not an easy one to answer, is it? Because we know that they're all quite different. So again, I will go around the room and get you to give an indication of how long they take in your area. So we'll start with you, Katie.
Okay, so apprenticeships in my area, the duration is anything from 12 months to 2 years, just depending on the level and depending on the sector. What we would do is in those initial discussions, we would talk about the duration, so you'd be fully aware about how long that apprenticeship was going to take. For example, a childcare level 2 qualification, you're given 16 months to achieve that. So you would be fully informed at the start of the programme of how long the expected duration would be.
Brilliant. Kate, in your area?
Very similar for land-based in the food industry and customer service. Level 2s are between kind of 12 to 16 months. And level 3s tend to be 18 months as an average. But again, we would go through individual ones. We do have some level 3s and level 4s that go up to 2 years in food manufacturing excellence, for example, and hospitality management would be a 2-year course. But most ones starting at level 2 tend to be 12 to 15 months.
Great. And Pete, what about in engineering?
So foundation apprenticeships on day release programs with employers are usually 2 years. Obviously, that's 1 day a week in college and the rest of the week with the employer. Our level 3 programs are the same duration, so 2 years. So depending on what qualifications you have, sometimes there is an entry requirement for the level 3 apprenticeship that you need specific qualifications from a technical side too as well. So obviously we work with employers to make sure that happens. Higher apprenticeships are 2 years in engineering, and the degree apprenticeship, depending on where you start, is up to 3 years. We obviously do offer pre-apprenticeship programs that can make you more suitable for an apprenticeship program. So I would suggest that you keep your eyes open for the upcoming open events at College Cambria, because there will be staff on hand on those evenings to be able to talk you through the options in all the various areas.
Yeah, very good. Well remembered to remind us about those March open events, where we will also have employers available to talk about apprentices and apprenticeships and what they might be taking this year. So really worth coming down to see us. Carl, what about motor vehicles and fabrication and welding?
So typically within my area, for level 2, fabrication and welding and motor vehicle is around about 2 years. And then you'd progress on to a level 3 apprenticeship, which is a further 18 months to complete.
Okay, and then some of the ones we haven't mentioned, Amanda referenced accountancy earlier. They generally 12 months apart from the level 4, which does take a little bit longer. That's 16 months. Our construction trades can take anything up to 4 years, depending on the trade that you go for. So something like electrical does tend to be one of the longest ones at about 4.5 years. So it really does depend, and we will do a full skills assessment and full advice and guidance on any program that you do start, in partnership with you and your employer once you do get that role and start with us, to make sure that you're really clear at the beginning of your program exactly what the expectations are, what you're going to have to do, how you'll be assessed, and any bits of your program that you will need to do because you don't already have those GCSEs in some areas as well. So let's see what questions are coming in now. We've got one here about childcare. Katie, can I go in at level 3 or do I have to start at level 2?
Right, okay. With regard to the childcare qualifications, you would need to start at level 2. So you would need that basis and the foundation at level 2 to go in. Level 3 is more of a supervisory role. So you would potentially be mentoring and supervising other members of staff within your team. So it is a course that you would start at level 2, and you would grow your knowledge and development from that stage and be able to progress once you've achieved that.
Okay, and we've had another employer question for you, Amanda, about any incentives for employers to take apprentices on.
Yeah, there's only one at the moment, which is for an incentive payment for employees or apprentices who declare they have a neurodiversity or disability. It's quite an extensive list. So again, if the individual does declare that to you, obviously you can contact the employee engagement team to advise. And then what we'll do behind the scenes is request the incentive payment directly with Welsh Government. But that again is only available until the end of March. And at the moment, we're not aware of any other incentives that will be available thereafter.
Okay, thank you. That's a comprehensive answer for any of the employers that are listening in today. Here we go. We've got an extra question on welding and fabrication. I'm thinking of applying for the welding and fabrication course. Would I be able to learn TIG welding? And what qualifications would I need for the course? And can you use an air-fed welding helmet, please? Well, that's a very specific question for you, Carl.
Yeah, is that Reese, is it? Sorry. So basically you can enroll onto a full-time welding course, which would be a level 1 course. However, if you were employed, you would then come straight onto a level 2 fabrication and welding course, where you would do TIG, MIG and MMA. And now, yeah, they all do use air-fed welding helmets as well when they're actually completing the welding tasks. I'm pretty sure that is actually part of health and safety now. So wherever you're working, you do actually need to wear one of them. Yeah.
Okay, well, we did say we'd do our best to answer any questions today, and that was a very technical one that you answered with aplomb there. Well done. So we've had one through as well around, I'm autistic. Can I still do an apprenticeship? Kate, I'm going to bring you in on that one.
Yeah, basically the answer is absolutely. Anybody with any neurodiversity is more than welcome to apply. We have a huge additional learning needs team here and an inclusion team. So any varying level of autism, you are more than welcome to talk to us, confide in us, let us know what will help you best so that we can support you. And our team will be able to support you and put extra things in place to be able to make your life here more comfortable and so that you feel safe and supported. So anything that you need with that, we've got our student services team, and as I say, on the scroll at the bottom, you've got the employer engagement team. You can chat to us before you apply if you like to find out how we can help you. So just ask the questions that's individual to you.
That's really good. And obviously we can send some information to your company and help your employer to support you best as well, because many of the employers that we work with are keen to have the most diverse workforce to help with their productivity. So definitely a great time to be getting an apprenticeship, and lots of support in place for anybody that does need it. So we've had one through. What we've got, Steph's question now. Where can we find a list of available apprenticeships? And is there a grade requirement on there? Well, Amanda, do you want to start with the first part of that question?
Yeah, absolutely. Steph, again, you might have just recently joined, but there's multiple places that you can search for apprenticeships. The starting point I'd suggest is looking at our College Cambria job shop portal. We can put a banner down the bottom just to give you an idea of what that link is. But if you literally Google College Cambria job shop vacancies, you can actually see that in the Google search anyway. And there's a list of apprenticeships, full-time work, part-time work, voluntary work. So that's one place you can look. Then there's also the Careers Wales portal. It's a Welsh Government funded portal, and that's a national service. So all our employees, we give the options to advertise in both places, both on our job shop and the Careers Wales portal. But then there's Indeed, there's the job boards, the Monster, again, and research. You know, if yourself or your family members got an interest in a certain industry type, do the research, get in contact, be proactive, ask if there's opportunities. But generally, we advertise new vacancies every single day, and we're about to see an increase in sort of engineering and construction as well. That's when we start really picking for those areas for the September starts. And generally, the employers will always add a grade. And like Vicky and my colleagues mentioned before, what we state we need for the qualification, the employer may state they need something higher. For example, business administration. A lot of our employers, they want to see administrators with an A to C Maths and English because of the work you'll be doing on their behalf, whereas the actual qualification requirements for the awarding bodies is a lot lower than that. So definitely look at each job advert and see what the employers are looking for, because that will be their requirement, but we may have a lesser requirement for the qualification. But always apply if you've got what the employer are looking for. Otherwise, they'll just discount your CV.
Thank you very much for that. And obviously employers are advertising and putting new adverts out every day. We did discuss before all of the different sectors that the college can offer, from engineering, manufacturing, care, childcare, land-based, food industries, fabrication and welding, motor vehicles, accountancy, business admin, management. But you can find a list of all of those, because I'm sure I have missed a few there as well. So you can get a full list of all the ones we can offer at our website, on our apprenticeship page, but it is always dependent on you having a job within that role. So what we need to remember is an apprenticeship is designed to train you in a specific job role. So in order to do that, you need to be in that job role as an apprentice. So when you come in, if we're looking about coming straight from school, if you're already employed and you're looking to move up to the next level, could be slightly different in that we can work with you and your employer. So as Amanda said before, if you reach out to the employer engagement team, employers at Cambria, then we can give you all the support. If you're an existing member of staff, not an apprentice with a company, you can still access the funding, and we can give you all the advice and guidance that you may need. So let's see if we've had any more questions, because we're getting through this now, getting on a bit. So there we go. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one for you, Katie. Can I do my apprenticeship in Welsh?
Okay, well, absolutely. We support all parts of our qualification through the medium of Welsh, and especially encouraging those who have come to us and to continue their education where they've come from a Welsh medium school. I pulled off some figures before just out of interest, and within my area, we've got 15% of the learners who are fluent Welsh speakers, and another 25% who do speak Welsh. So we do always encourage that. That's something we discussed right at the beginning of the programme. That's something that all our areas would do. And we do have staff who are fully bilingual within our teams, and they would be able to support you through your qualification. It might be that you don't want to do the whole of your qualification in Welsh, but we can pick up bits where you feel that you would be happy to do so. So it might be that you want to do discussions, or you may be in a setting, for example, in childcare where you are in a kilk, or you're in a Welsh medium school. So we would be able to support observations of you interacting with children or other members of staff through the medium of Welsh.
Really important. We do really support the Welsh language, and it's a Welsh Government and a college commitment to improve the number of learners doing their courses bilingually. So we do really welcome learners that want to carry on, or learners who don't speak any Welsh at all that would like to upskill and learn some Welsh, and particularly in some of the priority sectors such as health and care and childcare. So I'm just having a look to see if we've got any questions. Let's see if we've got one here. Amanda, this might be for you. I live in England and work in Wales. Can I still apply?
The ruling for the Welsh Government funding is that you need to be working over 51% of your time in Wales, a minimum of 16 hours. So we see it a lot in construction, whereby an employer may be based in Wrexham, but then they also work in Oswestry. So as long as your employer can confirm that the bulk of the work that you are doing is based in Wales over 51% of the time, then that's fine. And I appreciate it can be difficult, but ultimately we're governed by Welsh Government funding and regulations, so they would need to state that.
And so does it matter where you live?
Oh, sorry, I missed that bit. No, it doesn't matter where you live, but as long as you're working over 51% of your time in Wales. So you could live in England, absolutely, and be working in Wales. That's no problem at all. Sorry, I missed that bit.
Fantastic. Oh, here we go. Oh, we've got another technical welding question here for you, Carl. I've got some experience with TIG welding. Is this something I can improve on and be qualified in on a course with very low grades in maths and English, please?
Yes, definitely. We offer a few courses. We either offer full-time programs, 3 days a week, or you can come on an evening course and complete the course there, depending on how old you are, Reese. There's absolutely no problem with that with your grades. Yeah.
Fantastic. And how do I apply for an apprenticeship? Does the employer apply, or do I need to? Pete, I'll bring you in on that one.
Yeah, sure. Well, generally it would be your employer. You'd obviously secure the apprenticeship with the employer, and generally the employer contacts us direct to organise your programme. Some employers do ask the apprentice to do some legwork themselves and find out what the information is that they need to know before they contact us. So don't be surprised if you do get asked to do that. But by all means, do contact us and we can support you with your inquiry. But it's generally the employer that asks the question.
Okay, thanks. And then we've got one here. I have a degree and I'm changing career. Can I still do an apprenticeship? Amanda, do you want to pick that one up?
Okay, yeah, I'll, somebody might need to add to this, but from my experience and from what I've gathered working with employers, even if you have a degree, say if you had a degree in, I don't know, business management, maybe you had a degree in that, and you wanted to then do a business admin apprenticeship, which we have seen, you couldn't come in at level 2. That's a general rule of thumb because it's a similar quality, it's a similar sector. Say for example, but say if you've worked, you've done a degree in horticulture or something like that, and you wanted a complete change and then go into management or into an office, then yes, we can look at that. But generally, it has to be a completely different sector. I think there have been allowances in the past, but Welsh Government we have to approach Welsh Government to get their authority to do that. But if you use that as a general rule of thumb, if you want to completely change career paths, that's absolutely fine. I think, Kate, we've had that in your area, haven't we, where there's been a learner wanted to go into like a level 2 horticulture apprenticeship, and they'd done something, I don't know, like psychology or something different at uni, and that was fine, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And generally, if you want to go in a level 3 apprenticeship and you've got a degree, then that's absolutely fine. It's just a level 2. We just need to check what the subject matter is. Yeah.
Can I just point out as well, though, that if you have got a qualification, a degree in the appropriate field that you want to go in that prevents you for funding for an apprenticeship, the college does have other routes to work with your employer to provide you with the appropriate qualifications for your role.
Okay, well, some really interesting answers there. So we're starting to thin out on the questions now. So I'm going to go around the room and ask if there's anything about apprenticeships that we always tell people that we haven't had a chance to tell everybody tonight about, when employers might be advertising, or really just anything general about your area. So I'll mix it up a little bit now, and I'll start with you, Pete.
Gee, thanks, Vicky. Yeah, well, there's a whole array of things that can go on with different apprenticeships within engineering and manufacturing. Some of the companies that we work with will have enhanced aspects of their apprenticeship program themselves. So they'll send their apprentices on outward bound weeks, for instance, up to the Lake Districts, where they obviously work on team building and you get to see the countryside. Other parts of that is that other companies will organise intercompany visits. So they'll meet with partner companies and you'll go and have a look around some of those companies as well, which obviously is enrichment for yourselves because you can see what is going on. Obviously, we all drive past these industrial estates and things, and it's not often we get the opportunity to see what's actually happening inside. And some of it's very interesting. Within manufacturing, obviously, it's a very diverse area, manufacturing. We work with companies that make medical devices all the way through to paper, to cans, to all sorts of things. So depending on what opportunity you want, generally there's an apprenticeship program that fits that as well. So yeah, there's a lot out there that we can try and support you with, should you wish.
And those employers will be advertising?
In my area, for engineering and manufacturing, generally they start advertising around now because they coincide it with Apprenticeship Week. As Amanda alluded to before, we are running some Meet the Employer events, which is where our learners get the opportunity to meet the employers that we work with who are recruiting. But obviously on the opening evenings, as it was mentioned before, we do have employers in, and we do have specialist members of the team in to be able to answer questions on apprenticeships should you want more detail.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. You have quite a lot of extra information to share there. Kate, is there anything that you would want the audience to know?
Yeah, I think it's worth remembering that you don't have to be a school leaver to be an apprentice. So if you're actually already in a job and you've been in there a while and now want to actually develop your career, or advance your career, you're getting a promotion and you want to learn more about the next steps. It doesn't matter what age you are, you can still be an apprentice. So it's more about actually developing your knowledge and your practical skills in the job role, not about being a 16 to 19-year-old as it used to be years and years ago. It has changed a lot. So if there's something that you, your friends, your family are interested in, do just spread the word that there is potentially funding out there for you to be able to do an apprenticeship at any age.
Brilliant. Katie, anything from your area?
I would suggest that if you're looking at maybe childcare or working in a school local to you, I would definitely look at the local councils, their websites. They advertise a lot of the vacancies through there. If it's in health and social care, it's We Care Wales. Government website also advertises a lot of childcare and health and social care roles as well. And it might be sometimes just worth contacting local businesses yourself. It might be that you know somebody there, or a friend or a relative, and go and speak to them, because they'll be able to direct you to maybe where they're aware of a vacancy, or maybe they've got a vacancy coming up that they just haven't yet advertised. So definitely put those feelers out if that's an area that you wish to pursue.
Oh, some very good advice there. Carl, anything from you?
Yeah, for me, really, within my area, I think if it's something that you're keen to want to get into, to motor vehicle or fabrication and welding, it's get a decent CV, but go around the garages local to yourself, or the industries local to yourself, and walk in and hand them in, and go and talk to the employers and do a little bit of research so you can talk about what you want to do and show them how keen you are to get into them areas, really. And I think that's priceless for me. Yeah.
Brilliant. And for our employers in the audience this evening, Amanda, is there anything that you'd like to add?
To be honest, if I can add on sort of Carl, I totally agree, because of the work we do with the work experience teams and the job shop teams. You're getting that CV prepared, because your CV isn't just about getting a job. It's about getting an interview, getting an opportunity to meet with that employer. And again, work experience is vital. We're doing a lot of work with some of the curriculum areas here at college, and work experience is vital, because the schools don't offer work experience now. So it really is up to you as individuals. If you're keen on a given sector, as Carl said, go out there, knock the doors, get your CV, be proactive, because it is absolutely priceless. You know, that's worth multiple GCSEs in any employer's book. There's a lot of employers now who are recruiting on values rather than qualifications. So I think it is really know your sector, do your research, get some work experience on your CV, definitely. And then, you know, if you do come to College Cambria in the future, we've got the job shop team who can help you hone those employability skills. But second one, parents. We get a lot of inquiries from parents saying, can you give my son or daughter an apprenticeship? As everybody pointed out, you've got to apply for a job to then be converted into an apprenticeship. We purely offer the training. So it's really important that, you know, your young family members or even older family members actually go out and do that digging. But as far as employers are concerned, don't be off put by the word apprenticeship. I've had the conversation today. Apprenticeship is just the tag we use to access the funding. It's really a sandwich of qualifications, and I think if you take that word apprenticeship away, in some instances it's absolutely fine, but then those people who are maybe a little bit more mature might be put off by that terminology. But all it is, it's a framework of learning. It's a program of learning that anybody can access, as Kate mentioned. And yeah, if you want to upskill, speak to us about apprenticeships or other part-time courses that we deliver at Cambria as well, because there's multiple options.
Fantastic. And we've had another question in about welding, Carl. Do you need to wear overalls on the welding course, please?
Hi, Reese. Hi again. Yeah, you do need overalls, and they've got to be flame retardant overalls as well. Whilst you're talking about PPE, really, obviously you'd need boots, your flame retardant overalls, gloves, welding masks, and also safety goggles as well. If you are interested in a fabrication and welding course, we've got an open evening coming up in March. Please come down and have a chat. You can have a walk around the workshops. You can see exactly what they're doing there, and you can talk to the tutors as well, just to see exactly what's on offer. Yeah.
Well, that is fantastic. And I think we don't seem to have any more questions coming in now. So I'll just start to wrap up. And if anyone watching does have any last minute questions, then please do send them in to us, or we might miss us. But if you do miss us this evening, we'll just remind you again of our March open events. If you go on the website, you can pre-register for them. So if you have specific areas that you want to look at, we'll know that you're coming. We'll make sure that we've got experts on hand to answer any questions that you've got. We will also have our employer zones as well, so you can get to talk to some of the employers that will be recruiting, that are looking in the main, at the moment they're coming to our open events to try and boost their recruitment numbers so that they get some great people to start with them, and then you will obviously start with us. As Carl said, you'll also get a chance then to have a look around our excellent facilities, whether that be our welding workshop, which has caused a lot of interest this evening. That seems to be, that's going to be full for you next year, Carl. Or be it our engineering workshops, our construction workshops, our business school in Norfolk, where our accountancy runs, and some of our health and social care programs. It really will give you an opportunity to just have a look, get a feel for what we do, and talk to some of the delivery staff as well. We will also have some current apprentices from various employers available to really tell you all the things that we won't or can't tell you. So again, lots of information available on there. And also, it would also give you an opportunity to have a look at the FE courses that are available. If you decide, actually, maybe want another year before I'm ready to go out into employment, it'll give you a good opportunity to talk through the right further education course for your chosen career path, to make sure that when you are ready in a year's time, you've given yourself that extra stepping stone to the next rung on the career ladder. So really important there. So we'll be having them. You'll be able to come to our Deeside site, our Yale site, our Bersham Road site in Wrexham. We will have separate ones advertised on the website for our land-based open events, but a really good opportunity for you to come and talk through any questions that you've got, or anything that tonight has sparked any interest in, and get some further details and advice and guidance. So before we leave you this evening, I'll just open it up to the room to check that we haven't missed anything. Oh, here we are. Well, one last question from Gabriella. She's snuck in at the end there. How do you get support to use career direction? I'm going to throw that one over to Amanda.
Right, I'm not sure whether that's a slight typo. Is career, or you want guidance with your career direction? Okay. Well, our job shop team, if I am right, so if I've read that right, Gabriella, our job shop team are here for our full-time students. They've actually worked with some apprentices as well when they've been unfortunate enough to perhaps lose their opportunity with an employer. But I think the best thing you can do is look at the Careers Wales portal. There's lots and lots of information about CVs, about skills for interview skills. Again, if you Google career advice and guidance, Careers Wales, your best bet and work in Wales. And then if you do come to Coleg Cambria to join a full-time course, we will be able to offer you career support and guidance through our job shop teams, our employability coaches. But definitely Google. There's lots and lots of resources for careers advice and guidance. Definitely.
Could I just add to that? Obviously, is that if Gabriella's got a specific career that she's thinking about, obviously come in on one of our open evenings at one of our sites, because as I said earlier, there will be specific staff for that kind of delivery area, and they can best advise you on how to gain that, into that career path, and how you develop your skills to become employable if you're not already got those skills.
Fantastic. Does anybody want to add anything else? No, then I think all that remains is for me to again remind you of our website and the events we've told you about today. Lots of information on our website that can help you plan your next move in your learning to get to your chosen career. We would really welcome you coming to see us and asking us lots of questions and giving us a really good grilling. So it just remains me to thank my panel of experts this evening. Thank you very much for your time, and to thank all the people that have viewed this evening and have sent us in questions and kept us busy, kept us thinking, and really kept us going this evening. So thank you very much, and thank you for joining us.